G'day guys, great to have you along again. So we're carrying on with our Pure Maths 3 holiday homework, and this one is a bit of a doozy. It's a tricky one, and I imagine some of you probably had a little bit of difficulty trying to solve it. So what have we got here? We've got solve the equation 5 to the power of x minus 1 is equal to 5 to the power of x minus 5, and we have to give our answer to three significant figures. The key thing here is to make sure that you remember your index laws that you learned in IG. That's the key. Okay, so the first step that I took in this one is I wanted to get all of my x's across to one side. So I had 5 to the power of x minus 1, and then I moved the 5 to the power of x across, so I've got minus 5 to the power of x, and that's equal to minus 5. And then I decided I wanted to factorize. So I'm going to pull 5 to the x out, and this is where I'm going to use my index laws. So clearly the last term in the bracket is going to be minus 1, because 5 to the x times minus 1 is 5 to the minus x. So I hope that makes sense. Now, what are we going to put in here? This is where we really need to know our index laws. So remember back in IG, you did stuff like this. X to the power of 5 divided by x to the power of 2 is the same as x to the power of 5 minus 2 is equal to x to the power of 3. And another way of writing this, of course, is x to the 5 all over x to the 2. So you learnt this. Let's apply the same logic to the scenario we've got here. We've got 5 x to the minus 1. That must be equal to 5 to the power of x divided by 5 to the power of 1. And another way of writing that is 5 to the power of x over 5 to the power of 1. So given that, in this here, we can write 1/5, since 5 to the power of 1 is 5, and when we're dividing, we subtract the indices. So that's why I've got this minus 1 here. It means 5 to the power of negative 1, or 1 over 5. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. Our next job is to work out what we've got in this bracket here, which of course is minus 4/5. And then we are in a position where we can pull everything across to this side to leave the 5 to the x by itself. So we get negative 5 divided by negative 4/5, which is positive 25 over 4. Alright, now we've got one term on either side of our equation, and we're going to take a log of each side so we can get an x value. Obviously, we're going to go log base 5 of 5 to the power of x is equal to, and then we have to do the same base here, log base 5 of 25 over 4. Oop, that's a horrid looking 4. Okay. Now, using your log rules, you should see that you're just going to be left with an x here. And therefore, you can work out what x is by just chucking in your calculator log base 5 of 25 over 4, and we've got to do it to three significant figures. I'm getting 1.14 as my final answer, and that should be the answer. Well, I hope this makes sense for you guys. Again, just a reminder, the key to this type of question is to remember your index laws. It looks really tricky, but once you remember some of those basic index laws, you'll be away and laughing. Alright, take care. See you next time.